I have a second channel, Cube Comp MTDX.
Hey everybody, I recently unboxed another one of these sports cams just to see what I would get. The reason why I bought it was I needed some more accessories for my DV-powered D2 action camera. I needed one of these. Wouldn't mind having an extra watertight case and all that good stuff. So for $13 alone with free shipping, easily paid for this and this and the bike mount and all that good stuff. And right away I noticed some things about this camera. Is the listing on eBay and the manual that this thing comes with references an HDMI out. So at first when I had started this previous video I was like, yeah, we're expecting something different since this one has a micro HDMI out. Well, this one does not have a micro HDMI out. This is actually identical, I believe identical to the sports cam I got last year. This thing shoots in a whopping 640 by 480 on everything. 1080p, 720p, and VGA modes are all 640 by 480. So you see we're missing the HDMI port here. And look at this lens. You notice how the lens is crooked? I tell you guys, that's pretty freaking terrible. Okay, so today we're going to tear this thing apart. Let's see what's inside. And with little effort, that pops right off. And look at here. This one works just fine. It pops right on there because it's the same flipping thing. So that pops right out. Yeah, it's like this thing was just. Yeah, look now. Look, because look now. You see how this is not lined up with the hole? Yeah, so they just bent the sucker in there and said, "The heck with it." Yeah, that's typical shoddy manufacturing straight out of China for you. So these 4 screws come out, and of course I've already taken the battery out. I'm just curious to see what kind of hardware we have in this thing. Now this is supposedly a knockoff of a cheap SJ cam, SJ4000. So one thing I was wondering was, like what kind of processor do we have in this thing? What kind of sensor do we have? You know, that kind of stuff. Is it worth a crap? Okay, so the whole friggin' thing kind of lifts out. Yeah, these little cheap action cameras are put together very similarly. And look here, yep. Plastic backing you can barely see. Otherwise, I would have removed it in the previous video. Yeah, these displays are usually just glued in. I remember this from the last one I took apart. They're also freaking similar in design. And of course the recommended tool is like a guitar pick, but I don't have a guitar pick. Okay, well that screwdriver there is definitely not going to work. It's got a broken end on it. So how about this one here? Yeah, these little screwdrivers about had enough. I've abused them so much over the years. This is what I'm looking for right here. There we are. My quote-unquote digital camera screwdriver. Look here, we have it's almost like we have a second. Look at this. A second piece of plastic over this thing. So we had 2 layers of plastic over this screen. Maybe when they were putting these things together for shipping, they mistakenly put too many in there. So what I'm trying to do now is get this plastic here peeled up enough to where I can get a screwdriver in. Here we are. And all I gotta do is carefully peel back on the thing and it'll start to come off. It's just glued on there with adhesive. So yeah, this is good practice for if I decide to open up my DV Power D2 action camera to, let's say, upgrade the microphone or something like that. So in this one, let's see here. Yes, the LCD does have to come out. I think it should just lift right out. Yep, and it does. That pops up. Okay, so we have some chips to look at now. Oh, let's also look at the display. And there is a chance that this display would actually work with the DV Power D2, because these cameras do use similar parts here and there. So there's a part number on that. And here's inside the camera. You can clearly tell that this model is not even designed to even accept an HDMI port. There's not even a spot on the board for it over here. You just have your 2 LEDs. Let's get a close look at that chip there in the center. There's the main board while we're at it too. I'm not sure if this is the main microprocessor in this camera or what. Try to get you a good close-up there. Okay, so this whole thing, I think, comes right out. That's what it seems to be doing anyway. Here's the little speaker. Here's your power button on the front. Here's the built-in microphone up on the corner. So if we take off a couple of screws, we'll have access to the rest of the parts in there, which funny, that screw was not even quite tightened up. Here's where the battery meets up with the main board. And right here is the sensor, which this would explain why it was crooked inside there. Because look here, this here pops out. This little ribbon cable pops out, and it's held on just by adhesive. No wonder it was all centered. No freaking wonder. And before we actually tear this open, let's get a close look at the there's a number on the ribbon cable there. The LT1405-G3. I'll have to look that up. Okay guys, I had this thing in skeleton form hooked up to the computer running as a webcam. And as I suspected, even in the webcam function, it's just 640 by 480. There's the photo quality. If you go to select anything, the highest option you get is 640 by 480. And under video quality, your only option is 480p, which is 640 by 480. So, one thing I should note is when I try to snap a picture with this thing, so for example right now it's just recording. If I go snap a picture, so we're back in the photo mode, if I try to take a picture, we get an error message. Sorry, we weren't able to save the photo. Photo capture file creation failed. Now, I'm not sure if that's an issue with the app and Windows 10 or if it's an issue with the camera, but we'll try it out with the DB Power D2 here in just a moment. So, here it is. If I go over to video mode and try to take video, we get the same error. So this is a pretty good idea of what the video quality is like for this thing. I'm thinking this is all it can do. I mean, it's just flat out awful. I mean, look at that. It looks like a video camera from about 2003, or maybe 2005 would be more fair. But still, it's awful. Definitely not something you'll market it as a action camera, that's for sure. So I'm going to unplug this. Yeah, it's running off the computer's power also, by the way. So I tried looking up information. Yeah, I might not unplug that first, or turn that off first, but I looked up online. I couldn't find any information. I looked up the information shown on the processor chip on the back, and also the sensor. I couldn't find much of anything. It was just nothing. So, I mean, I'm thinking even if I could get a working firmware on this thing that would shoot in 1080p, it probably would not be all that great. So yeah. So I'm going to detach the LCD again. I will be testing out the battery in another video to see what kind of capacity it has. I won't be surprised if it's also a 200 milliamp hour battery. I was surprised that it actually had some charge on it when I unboxed and stuck it in the camera. So there's the sensor with the lens on the front. Yeah, I'll tell you, the lens is probably the only good thing in this camera. So let's go ahead and pop up the hook up the DB Power D2 action camera and use its webcam function. So this one automatically, when you don't have a SD card inserted into it, it automatically operates as a webcam. And it says PC camera on the display. Now the webcam function of this camera isn't the greatest either, but it's definitely better than the other one. See, this one shoots in, I think it's 720p. Actually, no, it says it can do 1080p. Rather interesting. So it can do 1080p, 16:9, 30 FPS, and it can also shoot high definition photos, or 1080p resolution photos. So let's take a picture of the Plexi. Why not? Let's see if we get an error this time. Okay, it must be an error with this app. I don't know what's going on here. It's possessed. No idea why this ain't working. This is really the first time I've ever used this app to capture. But as you can clearly see, for example, there I am. As you can clearly see, it is doing a whole lot better than, you know, that other piece of crap. Now let's dial this down to 640 by 480 just to show you. Or actually, it may not even do that on this. I don't know. It might just be part of this app. What I was saying, I was going to try to see if I can make it shoot video. Actually, no. I gotta change the video quality down to 480p. There you go. Even that looks better than the the sports cam. Well, you know, the reason why is the lens on this one has a wider angle. But the lens that comes with this other camera is not that bad. As mentioned, I have swapped went over onto a Kodak ZI-6 before. So if I can find another camera that will fit that lens, it would actually upgrade that said camera to a wider viewing angle. So if we turn this back up to yeah, I hit the wrong thing is what I did. So now we're looking more like the sports cam. Now we're back in 1080p. So yeah, this thing here, you just a little more money. You spend a little more money. You spend $30, you get a much better product. So, needless to say, you do get what you pay for with these things. But even with the case of this DV power camera, you get a lot more than you pay for. So, there you have it. Okay guys, I just made an interesting discovery regarding the lens on this camera. Last year's sports camera had a wider lens than this one. So it's very possible this one has a wider viewing angle than this one here. If you look carefully at these two, you'll see how the one on the right is definitely a lot wider than the one on the left. Very interesting. So I'm going to pull this out and see what we have as far as the sensor goes. Okay, here's a look at the sensor, and I tell you, it's really tiny. Just like the other one, it was like microscopic in size. So here's the two lenses. This is the one that came out of that camera, and this is the one that came out of last year's sports cam. And you can see that they are definitely different in design. So I'm willing to bet this one here does not have as wide of a viewing angle as this one. Okay, everybody, here is the stock lens in my Kodak ZI-6 camera, and you can see the viewing angle or field of view is just not that great with this thing. So let's try out the lens from the latest sports camera. Okay, so now I have the lens from the newer sports cam fit into the ZI-6, and you can see we have, I'm just resetting the power off timer here. You know, we have somewhat an improvement of field of view, but it's definitely not what you would expect from like an action camera lens, for sure. So if I thread this one out of the camera and install this one, you may be able to see that the field of view has improved, I do think. See, yeah, even the lens on this newer sports cam is different. It's crazy. Well guys, that's it for this one. But it doesn't have to be. There's plenty more videos on the channel to check out. Also, if you liked the video, please click the like button. And if you absolutely hated it, there is the alternative button as well. But yeah, please subscribe to the channel. I definitely appreciate it. And remember to click the bell so that we get notified of all updates. Also, if you're interested in things aside from computers and technology, check out my second channel. It's CubeComp MTDX. Over there you'll find videos about weather, elevators, bicycling, and pretty much whatever else I figure out to upload. So yeah, anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you for your support.